Hey Calien-Knights, you are watching a Raikuzin Games video. In today's episode, we will be looking at Colossus 12, which came out this week. So I've prepared two teams for you. One is an endgame build, doing about 27 to 40 seconds on average, with a really high success rate. The second team is for the early to mid gamers who are trying to understand how to formulate a team. I've made an infographic to help those people out, to illustrate some of the points I'm about to make. And with that, let's go. Starting off with the infographic. This is something I created myself. I needed a tool to help me explain what it takes to transition from a slow to a fast team. So whether you're an early, mid or late game player, you can look at this and understand, what are the elements I need to put in my team to go and transition to that. And I think for me, that's a better way to teach someone, because if I just give you a copy and paste team, what if you don't have those units? Then does that mean you can't do it? Well, no, because what's more important is that you understand the strategy and you go and apply that to your own account. And that way, you both grow as a player and you can also grow your account as well. So starting off, okay, let's have a look at the infographic. On the right hand side, I've categorized it by two columns, your fast and your slow team. So basically, if it has a green star, I would highly recommend that you have that element in your team. If it has a yellow star, it's useful but not necessary. And if it has no stars, that means you probably don't need it. But I'm not saying that you should take it out, but I'm just saying that you shouldn't go looking for that element in your team. And then I've divided those elements by three categories: your turn cycling, your survivability, and your offensive caliber. So the pictures are probably a little bit small for you to read, especially if you're reading off your phone. But I'm going to put the pictures up on my Instagram. So if you haven't followed me yet, check out the link below in the descriptions, and then you can download this picture from there. So let's just make it a little bit bigger. Let's start from the top. Indicated by the green stars, I've highly recommended having an energy booster in each of your teams. So this includes speed buffs and skills that boost your team's energy. Classic examples would be your Windwalker or your Demonic Swordsman. The reason for this is the more turns that your team gets, the quicker the cooldowns come off, and that way you can use your skill 2 and skill 3 over and over again. That means more heals, more damage, and more buffs, debuffs, etc, etc. The only time you may not need this is when you've gotten to the point of the game where your units are so fast that it is overlapping the enemy and you actually don't need a single unit to help you boost the team's energy. The next category is survivability. You can see at a glance already that the fast team has very little focus on survivability, because their plan of attack is to deal as much damage as they can before they need to heal. Whereas a slow team doesn't have that damage output yet, so they need to bring their healers, their attack debuffs, maybe even a defense buff, maybe even a strip on the boss, and maybe even the amnesia debuff to block the passive of the boss. So survivability between the two is very apparent. The more units that specialize in survivability you put in your team, the slower your run is going to be. Yo, quick edit guys, I forgot to mention cleanse. So that's the ability to remove debuffs on your entire team. One of the towers actually puts an AoE defense break on your team. This increases the chance of you dying, so being able to cleanse that off your team helps you survive so much more. I've put it right next to heal, but I'll edit this in the video. The next section is offensive abilities. So in this section we look at how you will be dealing damage to the boss and the waves. With a slow team, they focus on damage over time, so things like poison, burn, bleed, and they supplement this with crowd control to mitigate any incoming damage that they may receive from either the waves or the abilities of the towers. You can bring a defense debuff and an attack buff, but it doesn't have that same impact when your druid go hit something with an attack buff and defense debuff, compared to if you bring a Lich King and they have the same buffs and debuffs, right? So it just depends where your team is at. If you're transitioning towards a faster team, you know, you will be wanting to bring more defense debuffs and attack buffs and things like that. Whereas if you look at a fully tuned speed team, so you're going to bring things like damage that scales with enemies' HP because they hit hard on the boss. Your Shaman's Curse because that thing is just broken as hell. You should be bringing an attack buff. My team doesn't have one because I don't have a succubus, or I might need to replace something in my team to make it work, and I don't want to do that. But you should definitely be bringing a defense debuff. So with that, let's go have a look at a couple of the teams. Okay, so this is my premium fast team. So you can see that I have no healers. I have no dots. It's all focused on defense break, damage, curse, speed cycling, right? So you got Eve, those are the stats. She's got the S3 AoE and the S2 defense break, single target. Lich King has the AoE skills to help me clear the waves faster, even though I know that this skill, Thunder, does a huge amount of damage to the boss. But because I have Archmage with Mana Blade to fill that role, I decided to go with an AoE for Lich King instead. And those are the runes for my Archmage. So this is my Shaman. It's just my spare runes. Doesn't actually need too high of an investment. And here is my Demonic Swordsman on Berserk Conflict. 220 speed with 100% crit rate, fully skilled. So this guy is what's letting me turn cycle like mad. Every time he gets a Berserk proc to get an extra turn, the whole team gets an extra turn, because think about it, right? On your first turn, he gives the team a 40% energy boost, and then on the second turn, he gives the team another 40%, so 80% altogether. When he ends his turn, all your units also fill up the energy a little bit as well. So again, whenever he gets an extra turn, your whole team gets an extra turn, and that's just crazy. Okay, small details I forgot to mention earlier. Lich King's passive is this one, Death Will, not the other one. So when Lich King dies, he comes back as a ghost, and then after that, if anyone else dies, he brings him back with 1 HP. This has helped me in scenarios where RNG has slapped me around for some reason and things don't work out the way they should be. But Lich King keeps the other allies alive, and more often than not, that's enough for me to just finish the rest of the run. The other little minor detail is Demonic Swordsman. Sanctify skill is Petulant. This is an OP Sanctify skill because when he resists an enemy's attack, he counters with 2 hits, each boosting your team's energy by 20% each, which means you have a chance to cut in. I think that's just ridiculous. This team is the more early to mid-game friendly team composition. So I've tried to use common units, except for this Abyss Lord here. So I didn't have a 6-star mummy ready to go. I do have a Medusa, but I just felt that Medusa is too overpowered for a beginner friendly team comp, so I've used Abyss Lord instead. And I've actually nerfed my Abyss Lord, so I've changed these runes to just really trashy stuff. You know, a 5-star with +9 only. This one's still at +12, and this one's also at +12. So basically speed, HP, or speed, defense, HP, whatever, and enough hit to land the dots. And the rest of the team is Necromancer. I think you can, everyone can just go and fuse him. So still +12. This one's maxed out, but it's a 5-star. So the runes are pretty decent, maybe like mid-game-ish runes. Not really sure. Everyone has a druid. This is my druid. The immunity set doesn't do anything here. I just haven't been bothered to re-rune them. Wisp, conflict rune doesn't really do anything here. I've just played each of these runes for the stats, and basically Wisp is here for the skill 1 on bleed, skill 2 on speed buff and a small heal, and skill 3 strips away the boss's attack buff and puts slow on the boss. And this is my Demonic Swordsman again. I've nerfed it. I'm playing him Berserk and HP runes, and I've dropped his speed down to just +58. So just so you know, just so it just seems more realistic for a early to mid game build. So with that, let's go and have a look at the team.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast, and every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, under the stars. Baby, while we're young,
Okay, so that's all we have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something from it. If you have, make sure you subscribe and like. And if you have any more questions, just leave it in the comments below. I will try to answer every single one of your questions. And if you want a copy of that picture, that infograph, just look me up on Instagram. I'll probably put the link in the descriptions below. So with that, let me hit you with a question. What's your current Colossus 12 team, and what's your best time? You know, your team could actually be someone else's team as well. So with that, you know, I'll see you later. Peace out. Oh my god, I just got a best time.